When it comes to Avatar and relationships, Avatar has done great with relationships and told great stories and just a lot of good couples in this series. But specifically for Korra and Asami, I feel like this relationship is very forced and rushed. And don't get me wrong, they're a great couple and they look great together, but I just feel like this was so forced. And you may ask, why do you think this is a forced couple? I feel like it's forced because I feel like when it comes to all the other relationships in Avatar, they were actually built up. Or at least during their first interactions, we could see them at least like each other. For example, Opal and Bolin, they literally blushed at each other when they saw each other. Kai and Janora, same thing. When we saw Mako and Asami, that was actually built up. They didn't blush at each other, but you kind of tell that they was hitting on each other. Also, Aang and Katara, they've been built up since like episode 1. They always flirt with each other a bit, and anything romantic happen, you know, they'd always get flustered or nervous and stuff like that. We also have Varric and Zhu Li, and we know that Zhu Li liked Varric, and she actually showed like emotion early on that she romantically likes this man. But Varric didn't show anything back until the end of season 4 because he was gone away from her. But at least in this relationship specifically, one showed that they liked the other. Like it wasn't like, oh yeah, we're just gonna make this happen. They're both all of a sudden just gonna start liking each other. But for Asami and Korra, I just feel like there was like, you know what, we're just gonna roll it. We're gonna make these two just start liking each other out of nowhere. Like it was never one side, like one like the other. But I just felt like they just forced it. They did have moments where they talked to each other as friends. There was nothing romantic at all. I know Korra specifically wrote back to Asami when she was recovering after the fights of Zahir, and she specifically wrote back to her because she felt like she would understand more than Bolin and Mako, and she thought that they wouldn't understand at all. So that's the reason why she wrote back to him. And they did have moments where they talked to each other, and she was there for advice for Korra, but it was never anything romantic. But for real life couples, they always been built up. They never just happen like that. Maybe there's an event where it's like, man, I just kissed him, but the feelings have always been there from the beginning, or they've been built up. Now there may be scenarios where the girl will be like, you know, I find him attractive, but his personality is not the best. That happens all the time. But it's never like two people don't find each other attractive, not even a little bit, and then they just tend to like each other all of a sudden. Like that's like a very, very rare scenario, and usually that doesn't happen. Like whether they mention that they like the person or not, in their head it's all built up, whether they find them attractive or not. But it builds on experiences and all that. At least during their experiences, Asami and Korra, they had to show like a bit of emotion that they liked each other. You can't just be like, you know what, I like this person. There has to be like, you know what, I kind of see that. You know, she's a bit attractive. I might like her a bit. You'd be like, okay, I kind of like her a bit more. Then okay, man, I might really have to go for this person. It builds up like that, but it's never just, you know what, I don't like this person attractively at all. Then going from, you know what, man, I gotta go for it. It doesn't happen like that. You gotta build it up. But the author did say that they did not intend for Korra and Asami to end up together. I think early on they thought, you know, we're just gonna roll with Mako and Asami, or Mako and Korra. But I think they said season 3 specifically is that when they started like, hey, we might be able to make them a couple. And then season 4, well, specifically the end of season 4, they was like, you know what, let's just make this happen. But the only reason why I find it BS because there was no build up, and that's on the writers. That's nothing wrong with this couple at all. They're a fine couple, but for a couple to be good, you gotta have build up. It can't just happen, especially when you're writing it. I just feel like just the way that they implement, they just made it happen. Like if you're gonna make them become a couple in season 4, build it up. Don't just make them just all of a sudden just holding hands and doing all this. Like you gotta start from the beginning of a new, like if season 5 happens to come out, like just make them start having moments, not big moments, but in the comics, like right after they started holding hands, they literally kiss like during their vacation, which is very forced. I'm like, hey, just tone it down. Like make them have moments, but don't make it just happen forcefully. That's like the only thing I really seen in Avatar that was bad writing. Like it's really shocking how like the whole show is pretty much well written, but specifically this couple is very like bad written in terms of build up. Now, it would have made sense for one of them to end up with Mako, because that's been built up for season 1, with Korra liking him from the beginning, and Asami, shooting her shot at him at the beginning, and then Mako liking Korra back, during season 1. So that's been built up, but don't just forcefully make it happen. And it's kind of like deep in the series. This is season 4, and they just made it happen. But at the end of the day, this couple's still great, but I just feel like it wasn't necessary, and it was just too forced. But anyways, I appreciate y'all for watching the video. If I left anything out important that I missed between Asami and Korra, please leave it down in the comments below, or just comment what's your opinion on this couple, and just leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I appreciate y'all for watching. Y'all have a good one.